Have you ever wondered how your perception of war is shaped? How do images, narratives, and information influence your stance on conflict? In the vast theatre of human history, war has played a recurring role. Yet how we perceive these conflicts is not merely a matter of fact, but rather a complex tapestry woven with threads of propaganda. You see, war propaganda isn't just about presenting one side of the story. It is about swaying public opinion, about manipulating emotions and perceptions to achieve a certain goal. It is a powerful tool, often used by those in positions of influence to guide the narrative. So how do they do it? How do they pull the strings of our minds and hearts? Well, the mechanisms are manifold. It can be as subtle as a carefully chosen adjective in a news report, or as overt as a provocative image splashed across the front page of a newspaper. It can live in the passionate speeches of politicians or in the dramatic visuals of a movie. But perhaps the most potent form of propaganda is the one that appeals to our emotions. By crafting stories that tug at our heartstrings or stoke the fires of our anger, propagandists can create powerful narratives that resonate deeply with us. They can make us see heroes where there are villains, or villains where there are heroes. They can make us believe in causes that may not be as righteous as they seem, or doubt those that are. But propaganda isn't just about manipulation. It's also about control. By controlling the information that reaches us, propagandists can craft our perception of the world. They can make us see the world through their lens, accept their version of events, and even act in ways that serve their interests. As we delve into this topic, it becomes evident that war propaganda has deep historical roots. From the ancient civilizations to the modern world, propaganda has been a constant companion of war. And as we continue to unravel these threads, we will begin to see just how deeply it is woven into the fabric of our society and how it continues to shape our perceptions and actions. The concept of war propaganda isn't new. It has been a constant companion of conflicts throughout time. The seeds of war propaganda were sown as early as the times of ancient civilizations. However, it was during the two world wars that it truly blossomed into a tool of immense influence. During the First World War, nations were quick to recognize the power of propaganda in shaping public opinion. They employed artists and writers to craft emotive messages that would inspire patriotism and demonize the enemy. Iconic images such as Britain's Lord Kitchener pointing his finger or Uncle Sam's stern gaze were born out of this era. These weren't just posters. They were strategic tools designed to rally the masses and maintain morale during a time of devastating loss. The Second World War saw an evolution in the use of propaganda. It was no longer just about painting the enemy in a negative light. It was about controlling the narrative. Governments used radio broadcasts, films, and even comic books to disseminate their messages. They understood that to win a war, they needed to win the hearts and minds of their people first. One of the most notable examples is Nazi Germany's propaganda machine. Led by Joseph Goebbels, the Ministry of Public Enlightenment and Propaganda launched a relentless campaign of misinformation. They masterfully manipulated narratives to justify their aggressive policies and horrific crimes against humanity. However, it's important to note that war propaganda wasn't exclusive to the Axis powers. The Allies too used it to boost morale, recruit soldiers, and secure resources. It was a game of narratives and everyone was playing. In the Cold War that followed, propaganda became more subtle and psychological. It was less about overt messages and more about influencing perceptions and ideologies. It was during this time that the term propaganda took on a negative connotation, associated with manipulation and deceit. As we moved into the modern digital age, the landscape of war propaganda underwent a radical transformation. With the advent of the internet and social media, the reach and impact of war propaganda have amplified exponentially. In this digital era, the landscape of war propaganda has been revolutionized. The battlefield isn't just on the ground anymore, it has expanded into the virtual world. The internet, with its sprawling networks and infinite reach, has become a potent tool for the dissemination of war propaganda. It's a double-edged sword. On one hand, it democratizes information, making it accessible to everyone. But on the other, it also allows for the rapid spread of misinformation. Social media platforms, with their billions of users, have become hotbeds for propaganda. Information, or rather misinformation, can be disseminated swiftly, reaching a vast audience in seconds. These platforms can be manipulated to create echo chambers where one-sided narratives dominate, reinforcing pre-existing beliefs and biases. The spread of misinformation isn't just easy, it's also hard to control. Digital platforms have algorithms that prioritize content based on user engagement, often amplifying sensational or controversial posts, irrespective of their veracity. This can lead to the viral spread of unverified or false information, further fueling the propaganda machine. The challenge in this digital age is fact-checking. With the sheer volume of information available online, verifying the authenticity of every piece of news or image is a daunting task. This is compounded by the sophisticated use of digital tools to fabricate or manipulate content, making it difficult to distinguish fact from fiction. Moreover, the anonymity afforded by the internet allows propagandists to operate with impunity. They can hide behind fake profiles, spreading misinformation without fear of reprisal. This makes it even more challenging to hold those responsible for spreading propaganda to account. So, in this age of digital warfare, how do we distinguish between genuine news and propaganda? How do we navigate this complex web of information and misinformation? The answer lies in developing a critical approach to consuming information, in questioning, verifying, and seeking diverse sources. As we move further into this digital era, our ability to discern truth from propaganda will become an increasingly essential skill. So, how do we navigate this complex web of information and misinformation? The key to understanding war propaganda lies in critical thinking and being an informed consumer of news. One of the most potent tools in your arsenal is critical analysis. Don't just consume the news, question it. Ask yourself who's behind the story, who benefits from it, and what might they be trying to achieve. Look out for biases and potential motivations that might color the information presented. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. When it comes to news, diversify. Seek out multiple sources of information to get a more comprehensive and balanced view of the situation. Remember, different media outlets and international perspectives can provide varied insights. You need as many pieces of the puzzle as possible to see the whole picture. Fact-checking is an absolute must. Don't believe everything you read or hear at face value. Verify it first. Utilize fact-checking services and independent research organizations to confirm the credibility of news and stories. Be wary of emotional appeals. War propaganda often uses emotional triggers to evoke strong reactions. Be cautious of stories or images designed to provoke emotional responses without substantial context or evidence. They might pull at your heartstrings, but they might also be pulling the wool over your eyes. Consider the timing. In times of conflict, news and information can be strategically released to serve a specific agenda. Understand the timing and context of the information to grasp its implications better. Pay attention to language. Propaganda often uses loaded language, exaggeration, and biased terminology to sway public opinion. Words are weapons, and they can be used to wage wars of perception. Recognize the role of the media. Understand that media outlets might have affiliations or be under pressure from political or corporate interests. This can significantly impact the information they present. Be responsible when sharing information. Before you hit that share button, verify the credibility of the source. Don't contribute to the spread of propaganda unknowingly. Remember, every piece of information comes with a perspective. The challenge lies in identifying that perspective. War propaganda is a powerful tool, one that shapes public sentiment and can even alter the course of conflicts. In the world we live in today, we are constantly bombarded with information from countless sources. In this sea of information, war propaganda often slips in, subtly shaping our perceptions and opinions. It is a complex and sensitive subject, a fine art of information manipulation designed to lead us towards a specific viewpoint. It's crucial to critically analyze the information we consume, especially during times of conflict. Question the sources, their biases, and the potential motivations behind the information presented. One-sided stories, omission of crucial facts, or an overemphasis on certain aspects, these are all common tactics used in war propaganda. Don't limit yourself to a single source of information. Different media outlets and international perspectives can provide varied insights, painting a more comprehensive and balanced picture of the situation. Fact-checking, though time-consuming, is worth the effort. Before believing or sharing any information, verify its accuracy. War propaganda thrives on the power of emotional appeals. Stories or images that provoke strong emotional responses can be particularly manipulative. Be cautious of such content, especially when it lacks substantial context or evidence. Timing is another important aspect to consider. News and information can be released strategically to serve a particular agenda. Understanding the timing and context of information can help you grasp its implications better. Language is another powerful instrument of propaganda. Loaded language, exaggeration, and biased terminology are often used to sway public opinion. Be mindful of such language when consuming news. Recognize that media outlets might have affiliations, can be owned by persons who benefit financially from stock moves or trade changes. They may be under pressure from political or corporate interests. This can significantly impact the information they present. Always question the narrative, especially during times of conflict. Independent investigations and alternative viewpoints can provide a more comprehensive understanding. And finally, be responsible when sharing information. Verify the credibility of sources before sharing content that may contribute to the spread of propaganda. In the end, the power to discern lies within us. So the next time you encounter a piece of war-related news, ask yourself, is this fact or is it propaganda?